What's up, guys? Crypto Noah back with another weekly macro update. Guys, got some good stuff for you today. We got Bitcoin still hovering around all-time highs. We got ETH hovering around all-time highs with signs showing that it's probably about to continue to rise. And I want to talk about something super important regarding the Ethereum pump and what I think can help it soar to new highs. And a lot of people think it's the ETFs, but I got a little something different for you today that not a lot of people are talking about. In addition to that, we're just going to go over my macro view of the markets. We're going to look at some charts and just talk about how we're going to continue playing out the markets this summer. And guys, before we get started, I do want to apologize for the noise. This is the only place I can record the video with Wi-Fi. I'm using my buddy's hotspot. I am here in Interlake in Switzerland. This is my favorite place in all of Europe. As you can see, the backdrop is just amazing. But anyways, let's get straight into the video. And per usual, none of this is financial advice. All right, so we're going to start off looking at our normal metrics. We got the fear and greed index at 63. This is a good sign. The higher the markets can be with a more neutral to fear-based fear and greed index, that signals that the market still has a while to go, right? Because when things are all the way in the green, in the greed, like deep into the green, green, whatever you want to call it, that means fear has to, the scales are in balance. Fear eventually has to come back into the market. But we're not even 75% of the way right now. If we look at this right here, this is the altcoin season index. When this is here in the blue, that means we are like in full-on altcoin season. Right now, we're still in Bitcoin season as Bitcoin dominance has not dropped enough to where the liquidity is just flowing into alts, right? And if we look at the top 100 coins performance over the last 90 days, we can see that SPX is actually the top. And I recommended this to our group literally months ago, and we've been in an ETH SPX pool that's been farming extremely well. It was some days where this thing was paying out over 700% APR, like over 2% per day for a couple weeks, right? And if you want to get access to our yield farming alpha, our tools and resources, our 14-hour course, we just launched our 49 weeks to freedom challenge this morning. I had to get up at 3 a.m. so I can be on the call, and we literally have our coaches and myself included giving you all the farms that we're in, all of the rebalancing that we're doing, and the goal is to help everyone get up to 100K. We already have results proving this. Shout out to our coach Chris. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and click the link in the description. You have two options. You can either book a free call with me and we'll see if the program is a good fit, or you can join our community for free and just to kind of see what the vibe is like. Anyways, I regress. You can see that ETH was number 5. And if we're in a real altcoin season, Bitcoin and ETH are going to be way down here, right? And we have Bitcoin. I'm not sure what number this is, but in a real altcoin season, Bitcoin's not even going to be in the top 100 because all of the altcoins are going to be outperforming Bitcoin. So we still have some good time to accumulate some good alts. If we look at these charts, you can see that ETF data is kind of sliding down a little bit, mainly for Bitcoin. The blue lines is the ETH ETF. So ETH ETFs are still, picking up, but the orange lines, which are the Bitcoin ETFs, hasn't been as strong. Let's look at them individually. You see the Bitcoin ETFs kind of been, sliding off. We even had a few days last week where we had some outflows, so people were taking some profits, but we still have Bitcoin consolidating around all-time high levels, which is good. And if we look at Ethereum, you can see Ethereum has still been rising, right? Local highs. And you can see that the ETF inflows are still pretty high. But again, I want to talk about another form of accumulation that I see happening with ETH that's actually already been happening. So if we go here and look at the central bank balance sheet, we can see this starting to slide over, right? That means the central bank isn't dumping as many assets onto the market, essentially causing prices to go down because it's increasing the supply without the demand increasing. So that's good. We know Trump is pro markets. We have the M2 money supply still hiking up. And like we've been talking about for weeks, there is a direct correlation with the M2 money supply increasing, which is liquidity. More liquidity we have in the system, that liquidity needs to find a home. Inevitably, think of it as water flowing down the mountain. Some of the water's it's not gonna go all down one stream. Some of it's gonna drip into stocks, some of it's gonna drip into bonds, a lot of it's gonna drip into crypto, right? We have the S&P put in a new all-time high again yesterday. We have the Dow Jones consolidating around all-time highs. We have the NASDAQ put in a new all-time high as well. And the better the stock market does, the better crypto does, because when the stock market's doing well, that means institutions' appetite for risk increases because they're making money and they're feeling like geniuses. Now, if we go to Bitcoin, we're consolidating around this all-time high level, right? Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we come back down to 111. Like, the market likes to shoot above our 62 EMA and come back down and touch it every time, whether it's to the downside or the upside. Like, we saw it come up, come back down and touch it. We saw it go down, come back up and touch it. So this is kind of like a magnet. But I do like that our 62 is on top of our 200 because that signals that we're still in bullish conditions. As you can see, anytime the orange line is on top, it means that there's bullish sentiment, as you can see here. If we look at ETH, we're consolidating around like previous local tops, right? So ETH might consolidate around this level a bit. We might come back down to even 3K, right? Because we shot up here pretty aggressively. I would say we'll come back down to 3,300, just like we did here. All right, this has been a major level of support. I will be surprised if we came way back down here, and then we did get our cross. We got a clean cross. So we have the orange line, which is our 62 EMA, our rolling Fibonacci, on top of our 200-day, signaling that, hey, the bulls are in control, right? And again, I'm going to talk about something with ETH that I don't hear a lot of people talking about at the end of the video, so make sure you stay around for that. And then we do still have the crypto total market cap consolidating at all-time high levels, and I wouldn't be surprised if we came back down to this $3.5 trillion, maybe even 3.4, to test this area, which was previous resistance, as support. And then, you know, I like to say the longer the base, the higher the chase. Think of the market as like a slingshot or someone jumping from a certain level. It needs to have a strong foundation so that it can push off that floor and not put a hole in the ground. So that's what the longer the base, the higher the chase means. The longer it'll create this strong base like it did here, the stronger it can take off. And then again, we do have our cross here signaling that the bulls are in control. And then again, we have a clean break on our ETH to BTC ratio, and guess what, we actually have a cross here as well. Our 62 is on top of our 200-day, signaling that, hey, it's probably a good time to sell some Bitcoin and get into ETH. We haven't had a clean break like this with this percentage gain since back here in 2022, but then things started to fade. So we're officially in an uptrend on the ETH to BTC ratio. The definition of an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. We have a low right here, then we have a higher low, right? We have a high here, and now we have a higher high, right? So this is the definition of an uptrend. So I cycled all my Bitcoin into ETH. Not financial advice, but you might want to consider doing the same thing. Again, it's not bad to have some Bitcoin on the sidelines that you hold for 10, 20 years, but if you're a trader, it might be a good time to trade some of that ETH to BTC. Now, with Ethereum, I want to talk about what I think will cause Ethereum to continue to reach new levels. And to be honest, it's not nothing super complicated or crazy. It's one of the same things that happened with Bitcoin. In order for prices to reach new highs, two things have to happen simultaneously. There has to be an increase in demand, aka a new pool of buyers, right? Because previous demand isn't going to send prices to all-time highs, and then you need a supply that can't meet that demand. So where's this new demand coming from? That is ETH Treasury companies. 2 weeks ago, I showed you guys the list of Treasury companies for ETH and how most of them had just came on that previous month, and that coincided with ETH pumping from like 2,800 all the way to 3,600. We had the same thing happen for Bitcoin with MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is by far the largest Bitcoin holder, like by far. Okay, so now let's look at some data here. So in this chart, you're seeing companies buying Ethereum ETFs, but putting them on they are putting them on their treasury, and then they're borrowing against that ETH to buy more ETH, right? So you look at here, Ethereum Foundation, right? And you see all these numbers. These are outflows: 82 million sold, 32 million, 38 million. Then you start seeing only buys for the most part. 41 million, 28 million. SharpLink announces $425 million ETH treasury. SharpLink again bought 528 million. You had a $40 million purchase here. Bitmine builds ETH treasury with 250 million, right? SharpLink Holdings, a seed, 300K ETH. More for treasury. BlackRock files amended 19B-4 with ETH staking conditions. So people are buying ETH to put on the treasury to not just borrow against it and buy more, but they're borrowing against it, buying more so they can actually stake it and get a yield. Bitmine Holdings exceeded over 300,000 ETH, worth over $1 billion. The president signed the Genius Act, and we still have the Clarity Act that needs to be passed by the Senate, right? And then you had SharpLink buying more. ARK Invest was just headed by Kathy Wood. She has a lot of people follow her as well. They bought $182 million stake in Bitmine after offloading Coinbase and Roblox shares. So this is the important thing to keep in mind. She didn't buy ETH directly. She bought a stake in BitMine. Now, why did she do that? Well, if we look at this chart, you can see that since August of 2020, MicroStrategy has been the top performing stock, right? They did better than Nvidia, they did better than Bitcoin, Tesla, iBit, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Apple, the S&P 500, and gold. And again, MicroStrategies is a company headed by Michael Saylor, Bitcoin's poster boy, who does a lot of different things to raise money to buy Bitcoin. They have 3 different ways. They raise money via bonds, they do it common stock and preferred stock. And they have these 3 different tiers for investors who have different levels of risk. The bonds cater to investors who want to get their money paid back immediately, right? The common stock is for people who want to take a little bit more risk, but the preferred stock is people who want to take maximum risk. And again, if everything goes to shit, the preferred stock, I believe, I might be getting it mixed up with the common. The preferred stock, they get paid last, but they also have the most upside, and then down, right? People who bought MicroStrategies to get exposure to Bitcoin via bonds, they're going to get paid back first. Now, the important thing is that they are a data and analytics company, but they're famous for just buying Bitcoin. And this is a company that they're splitting shares, doing all this stuff to raise money just to buy Bitcoin. There's been a Bitcoin ETF around for a while, but investors are still more interested in buying MicroStrategy than Bitcoin. They just hold Bitcoin and they're outperforming Bitcoin. Like, really think about that, guys. Really think about that. Let that set in. Once that's set in, now you look at Ethereum. People are seeing that, we're talking about the flipping, right? Eventually, Ethereum is going to surpass Bitcoin in market cap because Ethereum is a utility asset, right? Ethereum is like digital oil. Bitcoin is digital gold. Digital gold is meant to store your wealth long term. Oil has different use cases. It's used in our hair, it's used in roads, it's used in plastics, it's used to make different products, right? And this is why oil is worth more than all precious metals combined. So that same thing is going to happen here in crypto. On ETH, you have BlackRock built in their BUIDL fund. You have DeFi, you have NFTs, and NFTs are the technology that is going to tokenize all of these assets, right? You just heard in my last 3 weeks ago macro video talking about how Robinhood built their layer 2 blockchain on Arbitrum so they can tokenize American stocks so that the EU investors can buy them. Hey, guess what? Arbitrum is an Ethereum layer 2, right? You have layer 2s built on Ethereum as well. So all this stuff is happening on Ethereum. Eventually Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin. So this tells me that Ethereum treasury companies could even probably will end up outperforming Ethereum. Ethereum always eventually catches up to Bitcoin and outperforms it in major bull markets. So they literally have a framework, a testimony, whatever you want to call it, for Bitcoin, and how MicroStrategy outperformed Bitcoin because they bought so much Bitcoin on leverage safely. I put air quotes around that. So with all these Ethereum treasury companies, we're going to see the same thing happen. And companies are going to continue to buy ETH, use leverage, which is going to take more ETH off of the markets, which is going to increase the price. And given this is one thing that you can do with ETH that you can't do with Bitcoin, you can stake it. Well, you can stake your Bitcoin on like a money market platform and all that. But Ethereum, it's a proof of stake blockchain, so you can stake your Ethereum to get a yield. So by staking Ethereum to get a yield, this is another dynamic that takes Ethereum supply off of the market, right? So I am predicting that with the increase in Ethereum treasury companies, these treasury companies are going to start performing really, really well. It's going to take more ETH off the market, and we're going to see Ethereum reach, I believe, minimum $9,000, maximum $15,000. So guys, with that, I'd like to conclude. I hope you got value from this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs here on this channel. Yeah, so it really helps a lot. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I love every single one of you who tuned in. I'm going to go enjoy the lake. Today is my last day here in Switzerland. We're going to head to Milan. So I will see you guys next week for the next macro update. Take care and trade safe.